Like and subscribe. On the way in the door, people. Today, I got an interesting topic for you all. An interesting theory to present. And that is, I believe that, and I'm going to say most, especially in basketball, most people who win championships were going to win championships. And again, I say most. There are very few things in life that are 100% guaranteed. But we can come to conclusions of things based off of patterns. There's patterns in all kinds of different things. There's patterns in men. There's patterns in women. There's patterns in different cultures. But normally you can use patterns to predict the probable outcome. But again, nothing is 100% correct or 100% predictable all the time. But like I was saying, so let's talk about the champions in basketball. Whether you're talking about Wilt Chamberlain or Bill Russell, Bird and Magic, Michael, Tim Duncan, who else? Steph Curry, Giannis, Shaq and Kobe. I believe, it is of my belief that most NBA stars who win championships, again, I say most, were going to win them. Because to me, it starts with the mind. It starts with your mentality as a person, as a player. And, going back to, for those of you who've seen the Club Shay Shay interview with Mark Jackson. And on this interview, Mark Jackson says, I believe that Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant are the two players who would actually be willing to drop dead on the court to get the victory. And he even said that, hey, me, myself, I'm not willing to go that far. I'm not willing to drop dead on the court to get the victory. And I believe that he's probably correct in saying Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, the only two players who would probably be willing to drop dead to get the victory. Now, while I do believe that, I believe there are other players who come close to that. I definitely believe Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, probably come close to that. Highly competitive people. And many players back in that era, it was just more competitive than the Barbie era that we're in today. So, to me, when you think about, first of all, let's talk about the things that made Michael Jordan the GOAT in most people's eyes. But even more importantly, that the thing that drew people to Michael Jordan, besides his game, like I said, besides his game being visually pleasing to the eye, besides being able to watch him play and knowing that you are watching something phenomenal, extraordinary. Besides that, I think what really drew people to him is his will. There was no quit in Michael Jordan. Like it's just not part of his makeup. It's not part of who he is. There was no as long as there was time on the clock, for the most part, you could tell Michael Jordan believed that somehow, some way, we can make this comeback and win the game. And he made the fans believe that as well. And when you're talking about competition, I just did a video on competition. And again, the definition of competition is establishing superiority over someone. And how do you do that? To me, it starts with the mind. It starts with who is wearing the other one down mentally to where you don't quite have it in you to continue the battle for the most part. And Michael Jordan had lots of tough battles. Again, this is why a lot of people think MJ had super teams. But MJ's will was the super team. His mind, his indomitable will, his inconquerable will was the super team. So when you talk about MJ versus someone like Charles Barkley, why doesn't Charles Barkley, Stockton and Malone, Gary Payton, and Kemp, why didn't they get rings? Because again, a lot of those teams actually had more talent than the Chicago Bulls. But why didn't these players get rings? It's because their will could not conquer Michael Jordan's will. To me, it's that simple. It starts before you hit the basketball court. And I believe most players who win championships were gonna win it. It doesn't matter what situation you put them in, they were going to find a way to win. Larry Bird. To me, yeah, we know Larry Bird as the Celtics, but in my mind, whatever team Larry Bird went to, we were gonna know Larry Bird and that team. Because Larry Bird was gonna find a way to win. Yeah, we hold Magic Johnson, he's a Laker for life now. But Magic was competitive. And to me, in my mind, no matter what team Magic went to, he was gonna find a way to win. And the same with Michael Jordan, who we know Michael Jordan as a Chicago Bull. And a lot of you fanboys out there love to point out the circumstances through which Michael won. But it is of my belief that no matter what team Michael Jordan went to, he was going to win. And if he went to another team, then we will be talking about another team right now in the same way. Oh, well, he had this great coach. Well, all those things happened because Michael Jordan had to win. And he was going to make that happen no matter where he was at. I like to, if you all watched The Last Dance, and they were talking about the whole Nike thing. And I guess his mother is the one who convinced him that he should sign with Nike. I guess he almost signed with someone else. And they asked him something to the effect of, basically what does he think would have happened if he would have wound up signing with someone else? And his basic answer was, well, I have to believe, and I'm paraphrasing, so, well, I have to believe it would have been just as successful because everything was based off of how I played the game. It's what I keep telling you fanboys. When you try to say the media made Michael Jordan. No, Michael Jordan made the media. Everything was based off of how he played the game. If he was not such an extraordinary player, Nike would not be what it is. I mean, it seems logical. I don't understand how you fanboys don't get that. But anyway, again, I do these videos to me for people who grew up in a generation of the 90s like myself, who see where basketball is and are disgusted with it, or at the very least see the many problems with it, and for the younger generation, so they can not only get the truth, but so they can understand what creates true greatness. But anyway, Michael Jordan said, hey, I have to believe that whatever shoe company I signed with, the results were going to be the same because it was based on how I played the game. So yeah, you know, even a modern player like Giannis. To me, Giannis was going to get a championship, and he may still have some more to go. But to me, Giannis was going to get a championship no matter what team he was on. It's the will, people. It's, can you use your will to establish superiority over the competition? How unbreakable is your will compared to the competition? So yes, I really truly believe that Isaiah Thomas in the Detroit Pistons, how can I leave them out? As much as I don't like Isaiah today, like, those guys found a way to win. You know, agree with it or disagree with it. Because like I said, those guys were playing football. But they found a way to win through playing hard and like I said, the will of Isaiah Thomas, you know, playing on that hurt ankle. You know, that is an amazing performance in the history of the NBA that should never be forgotten. But yeah, so now let's get to the elephant in the room. I said most people who are champions in the NBA, we're going to get them one way or another. But then we have to also talk about the fact that there are two different types of winners. There are winners who work hard for what they got, and there are winners who found shortcuts to get what they got. And fanboys, you know which one your king is. The deer. LeBron James. He was determined to get that championship. But he was not determined to get it by proving his dominance over the competition. That's just not even in him. And this is kind of the point of the video, is that it is not even in LeBron's character to be the GOAT. Like, he doesn't have that. His winning is very dependent upon the circumstances. Ironically, he's won with 3 different teams. And a lot of you fanboys like to use that as some kind of badge of honor. It's like, oh, well, he has 3 championships with, or I guess we'll give him 3.5. He has 3.5 championships with 3 different teams. But, you know, the reality of it is LeBron James has had to make teams to benefit him. Fanboys, let me tell you something. You guys can live in the delusion of thinking that this team hopping thing has been great, and you can lie to yourself and say, hey, he's so great, he took 3 different teams. But at the end of the day, in your heart of hearts, you know that LeBron had to set up circumstances in order for him to win. He had to create super teams. He had to basically put the chess pieces on the board in a way that favored him so that he had an advantage. Because he never figured out how to win from a disadvantage standpoint. It's just not in him. That is, fanboys, this is really what we're trying to get over to you. It was never in him to be the GOAT. LeBron James' mental makeup is not GOAT material. It never was. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I really feel for you guys. And you know, it is what it is. LeBron James, you know, do I believe he was gonna win? Yeah, I believe he was gonna win because he is the kind of person who takes shortcuts. You know, if You know, if you're in the stocks or whatever, you know, he's the kind of person that's doing insider trading. You know, if you're into, you know, he's the kind of person who built his empire with a $1 million inheritance from his parents, so to speak. You know, he is not the kind of person who would truly build it completely from scratch. And he's shown that over and over again. So that's why I say, you know, to me, the people who won in the NBA, for the most part, I have to keep saying that because I don't want you fanboys to come back with that crap. And LeBron is not included in that category. He's in a different category. He was going to win because he's the kind of person who takes shortcuts. And there are those people in life as well. Fanboys, you guys are probably like that, which is probably why you like LeBron so much. But there's also people who, no matter what situation you put them in, they were going to win. Because that's just who their mental makeup is. Their will is unbeatable. And then, you know, as you get to the will, other stuff starts coming into play. Like, for instance, like let's say if MJ and Larry Bird played each other with equal teams, then I think Michael Jordan is winning. And why is Michael Jordan winning? Well, for two reasons. I believe that Michael Jordan has a slight competitive edge over Larry, but the most important is when things become equal, then that's when things like the athleticism will come into play. Like if you were actually equally matched on skill, and I've said this before, like to me, when I watch Larry Bird, his play resembles Michael Jordan's a lot to me. And maybe for some of you, you don't understand what I mean by that. But to me, his creativity, his ability to just seemingly just make stuff happen. Like to just create out of thin air. It's just like just good instincts for basketball. It's like you close off one lane and, you know, through footwork, through putting his body in positions, you know, to me, like I said, Larry Bird was just spontaneous, creative, intuitive on the court. And when I watch him, I think to myself, like, now if Larry Bird had Michael Jordan's athleticism, that would be an epic battle. And then you got people like Magic, to me, who he kind of carved out his own niche of how he did things. You know, he didn't have the same kind of game that Michael Jordan and Larry Bird had, but he really figured out the way. Like, to me, when I think of floor general, to me, Magic Johnson is the ultimate floor general. You know, I think of John Stockton is like the quintessential point guard. But when I think of this definition of running the team and directing the troops, to me, that's Magic Johnson. But again, I'm kind of going on and on. But yeah, but like I said, to me, it all starts with the mentality. And people who, you know, there are certain people, I would say most of the champions in the NBA, they were going to be champions no matter where you put them. Because it starts with the mind. It starts with the will. It starts with your mental makeup. And most of the champions, not all, some champions are circumstantial. You know, some champions are right place, right time. And other champions are shortcut takers. We won't say it again. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you believe that most people who win we're going to win no matter what situation you put them in. And like I said, there are exceptions. There are players who is circumstantial, and there are players who take shortcuts. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. And you all have a fantastic day. And I will see you next time. All right.